Hey everybody, welcome back. Brian, how you doing?
Hey, I am doing freaking great.
Cool. Jay Niblick here, Brian Arzani. We're back.
10 to profitability.
10 to profitability. We cut it down to 10 minutes because we even got feedback from some of our best consultants. 20 minutes is too long. And why is 20 minutes even too long, Brian?
Dude, here's the deal. If you've got more than 10 minutes to sit around and get educated or take in information, then that's probably your problem. You're more passionate about just acquiring knowledge versus going out and doing something for somebody else. So there's your first piece of news and information. 10 minutes tops, and then go sell some shit like Jay Niblick always tells me to do.
And that's what we do. We got a timer here. These entire programs are all dedicated to helping you, the independent consultant, become more profitable. 1,600 consultants around the world in 52 countries. We know what the hell we're talking about. We've made and lost fortunes between the two of us ourselves collectively.
Hey, the key to staying in business is earn enough money to pay for your mistakes.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
And so we've taken these lessons from all these other people and we're putting them out here. Okay. It's not just two guys pontificating all day long about what we think. These are what the consultants that are out there generating what collectively, I guess we said about $120 million a year in combined revenue. And that's very conservative. These people take these profiles and they teach us. So we're just aggregating all this into one spot and sharing it with you. We talk about it in the Profitable Consultant. We're not about a book, but this is something that the entire company kind of revolves around. And the last discussion was, don't just sell transaction things yourself. Don't sell tools. Don't go out and sell a consulting service. Don't say, I'll sell sales training to you. I'll sell disc assessments to you. Sell solutions. You are like a physician, just going to go out there marketing, hey, half off, hip implants this weekend. Sell the solutions. Brian's going to talk to you more about, once you're in the business, that same approach, that same mentality is the next key to profitability. Don't think transactionally. Don't think I got in and I'm going to coach this individual. I'm going to do this leadership development program. Keep your head up, and he's going to talk about it. So Brian calls it the consultant clock. Go ahead, Brian. What are you talking about?
We got 8 minutes, right? We're going to roll?
Yep.
Okay. So, but Jay, it's wild. One of the things that I found, and when we first started kind of doing this, we were in this world of transactions. That's how I was brought into the world of consultancy back in 2000, 2001. We would sell projects. And I think that's where your concept of the profitable consultant came from, which was, how do we create a consistent ability to generate some sort of revenue or stream of finances that allowed a business and a consultant to form a relationship. So we finally cracked the code, and we've talked about this in previous, blogs or webinars. We've done all kinds of different, sessions on this. When we cracked the code on how to go out and sell retainers, one of the things that we found was at the end of the retainer, it was an event. And that event was the decision of, should we go to the next step, blah, blah, blah. And here's the thing, what's interesting. What we found was a lot of the effort and work began at the beginning, and we put a tremendous amount of effort into that relationship to get a lot of the projects and work done that we'd identified in that 1 or 2 year long project. And then as time goes on, you start to, you've maybe created this relationship. It becomes familiar. And I call it the consultant clock, because what happened was, and as you reflect on the mistakes that you make, what I started to find was, toward the end of those relationships, there was like, well, what do you got for me now? And it became a little stale. And just like, I'm celebrating this year 23 years of marriage, which is kind of sweet. I'm excited about that. But here's what I know. If I'm not continuously finding unique and reasons for my wife to say yes, right, to say yes to me, if I was asking her to marry me again today, would she say yes? That's the key. And so the consultant clock, and this is what's unique about it. I know I took a minute to get there, but here's the deal. The consultant clock, with about 4 months left in my contract or my retainer, I'm going to continue to execute on exactly what I'm delivering on. And Jay, how much work goes into a consulting relationship, but toward the end, if I look out and say, okay, I've got 4 months left or 5 months left or 3 months left, one of the things that we've got to do is we've got to start creating an additional amount of value, to start doing a little bit more, to create a systemic vision and perspective of how I fit in to their world, their company long-term. So maybe I've been in that. I love the word you used, Jay. It's an agnostic platform for profiles. And so maybe I've been only in leadership development, And so, Jay, you helped me understand how I could use other instruments or use our instrumentation or our platform or our sister companies to say, if I've only been in leadership development, how do I, with 3 months left or 4 months left in that consultancy clock, bring a new idea, a new concept that allows them to say, wow, this is kind of exciting and interesting. And maybe they want to start to look at a 2-year long or a 3-year long relationship, because we're going to go out of leadership development to emerging leader identification, or we're going to get into succession planning, or we're going to get into recruitment and selection. And so that consultancy clock is something that every one of us, we're either going to create relevancy for ourselves to stay a part of that organization relationship long term, or we're just going to become Darwin's theory of evolution or the flavor of the month, right? I mean, that's,
if I understand you correctly, it's don't think transactionally when you get in there and say, look, here's what I did, and I've got a retainer to help you with that. I mean, we talk about the DTS model, again in the book.
yes.
Do it, teach or transfer it, and support it. And it's a way to create significant profits because you're now not trading time for money. We've talked about that in other webinars. But when you get in, what you're saying is, don't think like transactionally, like, okay, I've got a 1-year contract, and a month beforehand, your clock's about to expire. Thus the reference for clock. Then you start thinking late, and I've seen this too, is at the end of the thing, hey, let's renew. You better be 3, more likely 4 months, if not even more, thinking in advance, how do I constantly continue to provide new value? Which means in my world, how do I see the next thing that needs solution? Next thing that needs, to be addressed, the next diagnostic opportunity for me. We always talk about be like the bloodhound. Don't get in and get the blinders on and say, I'm here delivering coaching to these 3 individuals on the executive team, or I'm here doing my team building or whatever. And the timeline is extensible. So let's say you're just in there for 3 months to do a leadership development program. Same thing applies. You don't have a 12-month contract or retainer. Even if you're just in there, always be looking up and when you're exposed to these things, there's going to be something else. Think of the companies like a wave, right? Now, eventually that wave's going to hit shore and it's going to taper out and die 10 years from now. Maybe, you don't have clients that last longer than that, but don't stand there in the shore. You've all done this at the beach. Don't stand there and let the wave just go boom and hit you. And you get all this force, which is great, but then it disappears. It goes right past you. That's me standing there going, I did leadership development training for 6 months. And then boom, the company's behind me. Get on top of that wave and ride it, because it's changing, it's agile, it's evolutionary, it's dynamic. It's always everything you're doing in there. Keep your antenna up and your head on a swivel, looking for what's the other things that are happening underneath.
Well, and Jay, you say it.
Look, here's what I want to talk about doing for the next 12 months.
Well, you say it all the time, we earn the right to serve. And so when we're in there and we're thinking in that consultancy clock and knowing that time is always running, how do I go in and say, maybe I'm going to go left here. Maybe it's not, I'm going to do a new program. Maybe I'm going to teach an individual who popped during our leadership development training, and I'm going to teach them how to apply it. I mean, that is the model, man. That's when you clicked off so many light bulbs in my brain when you said, do it, teach it, support it, right? We're going to teach, we're going to model that behavior. And so maybe this person's positioned at that C level, that C-suite of officers and executives. Maybe we're going to teach that next level manager down at a lower level to become that expert with their team and create some raving fans or some incredible noise, because that team is starting to do things that other teams aren't doing. And I can't tell you how many times we've done that.
What's the average longevity of some of your longest clients?
Well, Jay, I've been working with organizations. I mean, I've got some that have been on 12 years, and every year. I mean, I'm telling you, every year about August, it's all, they're literally calendar reminders. In August, I will bring them 2 or 3 new ideas that they can say no to. And here's one thing about talent. Talent, it's not if talent is going to change, it's just when.
Oh, yeah.
So we're bringing in new folks all the time. We never create a relationship. And anybody that says, hey, we want to come in and speak for me or whatever, we'd never sit there and go, oh yeah, sure, we'd do a speaking engagement. I'd look at that speaking engagement and say, well, what were you wanting to invest in that? Oh, we wanted to do $1,500 or $500, and say, what if you just spread that over 6 months or 3 months and just little things happen over that period of time? Then all of a sudden they create a vision that's different. I mean, it's a different model. So in our little small podunk, yeah. And this,
you're thinking, this is another great example. You're always thinking expansive. You're always thinking, how do I increase value? How do I find more problems that can be solved? How do I find more individuals that can be benefited and helped? And that's the common problem we see. People stop and go, I'll take it. Yep. You want me to come in and speak? I'll come in and speak. And then they're like, well, what happened? Where's the
Well,
next?
and this is the question. If I spoke, what would you want to happen?
Exactly.
That's 10 minutes. But there's the question. If I spoke, what would you want to happen? You're going to have to listen to the next. I think we got our next topic, don't we, Jay?
Yep, we do. Listen, everybody, time's up. You guys got to go sell some shit.
Like, subscribe, push the button, listen. We give new ideas. Have a great freaking day. Thank you, Jay.
Happy selling, everybody.
Boom.
Bye.